Yo, what's up guys, Felix and John Lifestyle, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what to do when you have $1,000 to invest. Now before this video starts, be sure to go down into the description at the end of this video. Go to the fifth link, it's by Webull. They're going to hook you up with 6 free stocks. All you have to do is make a brand new brokerage account, deposit at least 1 penny, and they're going to hook you up with a bunch of free stocks. So at the end of this video, go get those free stocks, go get that free money. But in this video, I want to talk to you guys about what to do if you only have $1,000 to invest. Now, a lot of people on the internet are going to try to snake oil you and tell you to buy their course, just give me your money. You only have $1,000 left, but give it to me. Nonsense. This video might not get monetized because I might curse in this video, but it doesn't matter. I'd rather save you guys the money than make a few bucks on Google AdSense. But do not put all your eggs into one basket, and then do not liquidate all your money to try to buy a course. Now, it doesn't mean you can't buy a course if you only have $1,000 to invest. Literally, if you have $1,000 to your name, nothing more, nothing less. Do not go out there and buy a course that costs $1,000. Do not go out there and buy a course that's $800 or $900 or $700. I personally would not recommend you spending more than $100 to $250 on education. Now, it's not knocking education, but you can't put all your eggs into one basket. I seen another YouTuber, someone's FaceTiming me. I seen another YouTuber say basically if you have $1,000 to invest, literally $1,000 to your name, go out there and buy a bunch of crypto. And I'm just thinking that's terrible advice, because what about eating? What about living? What about paying your bills? What about surviving and actually making it out of this struggle phase? You know, obviously 1,000 is better than having nothing, but that's not the position you want to be in. You should typically have 3 to 6 months of savings set aside that you never touch. I've said that in a previous video where I talked about the different type of bank accounts you should have, and you should have an account that literally has 3 to 6 months of savings, an emergency fund that you do not touch at all. So even with this $1,000, you should put maybe $200 to $250 or maybe even $300 to the side that you're not going to touch at all, and you're only going to play with $700, because think about it, it's either you make it, it's all or nothing. You maybe you have a support system, maybe you have family that could lend you money, or maybe you have friends or family or associates that could bail you out. But let's assume that this is the only $1,000 you have and you can't get any more, right? You should put $200 to $300 to the side. That's literally like your emergency fund, right? You should always have an emergency fund, and as you become more and more successful and more financially stable, you should grow that emergency fund. Like me, I have probably I don't know, maybe close to 2 years of emergency that I could literally just live off, that I do not touch. It just sits there and I don't touch it, but it's just in case of emergencies, or in case everything I have goes down. So that's the first thing. Make sure that you do not put all your eggs into one basket, and then make sure you're taking at least $200 to maybe even $300 of this $1,000 and putting it to the side and not touching it. So now you're playing with $700. The next thing is, if you have any high interest credit cards, you want to make double payments. Now, as long as the payments aren't too high, you don't typically, if the credit card payments are usually 2 to 3% of whatever the balance is. If the payment is maybe say $25 a month, you can double up, meaning as long as you don't have too many credit card payments. But if you have 1 or 2 and it's high interest, make sure that if the minimum payment is $25 a month, do 30, and then do 30 a few days later, so you can kind of knock those credit cards down. The next thing you need, and I said about this in yesterday's video, is don't knock a job. People on the internet will try to shame you and play you and make you look like a fool or a loser because you have to get a job. You might have to get a job with this, but it's what you have to do to get where you want to go. So don't let anybody make you feel down or out because you have to get a job. You have to do what you have to do. Also, make sure you start a side hustle. What you should be doing with $1,000 is you should just keep flipping. This isn't really a time, and I have something on here also called no long-term plays, right? I spoke about that in a few videos ago where I said, in the beginning, you either have short-term plays. Short-term plays are like medical commodities, pallets, becoming an independent courier, flipping DVDs, doing eBay reselling, retail arbitrage, doing quick flips, quick hustles that are going to get you paid, today, because you don't have time to try to close a wholesale deal or see if crypto or Bitcoin goes up and down. You need money today. So when the guy that was on the internet said, "Oh, just take your $1,000 and go buy Bitcoin," I'm thinking, this guy literally does not care about you. There are people on the internet that will say, "Oh, you have $1,000, good. give me your last $1,000. In fact, listen, I'm not here to name drop, but I think, and he said, if you literally have $1,000, should you buy our course that costs $997? And the guy said yes. I don't care how great the information is. For me to have $1,000 and to give you $997 of it would not be smart. Now, if the course was 100 or 200, that's fine. You know, out of the 1,000, we're already going to assume you're taking off 300 to put to your emergency fund, right? Now you have 700. If you want to invest 100, maybe 2, maybe 3 into a course that's going to give you information to start that side hustle, because like I said, either you get a job or you start a side hustle. It's one or the other, if not both. But just to recuperate, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Do not go out there and buy a course or try to do any long-term plays. You know, don't buy a course that's going to cost you more than half of what you have before your emergency fund, right? So if you're putting off 300, you know, like I said, I wouldn't even personally spend more than 100. I wouldn't spend more than 250 on education. There's nothing wrong with it, but make sure you're taking off 300 for your emergency fund. So let's do some quick math. You're taking off 300 for your emergency fund. So now you're down to 700. And then you want to say you want to spend another 300 on education, right? Education. So now you're down to 400. And then you could have the 400 to kind of work and build with. You got your 300 to the side, but don't let anybody out here try to, you know, snake oil you and tell you to take your last $1,000 and go invest it with them. Yes, could it work? Yes. I mean, anything could work, right? But you need money. You need to keep flipping. And then once you build up to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, like I said, you want to keep growing that emergency fund. You should have, at very bare minimum, you know, 3 to 6 months of emergency savings. And that's money that you don't touch. You don't dip in there for vacation. You don't dip in there for anything. That's literally emergency if everything goes to nothing. If everything goes, you know, down and now you need money to live off of or use to kind of get your game and your situation going back up. But there you guys have it. That's what you do with $1,000. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't invest in a course that costs $1,000 and wipe yourself out. Make sure you put at least, you know, 25% of $1,000 or whatever you have. Maybe you have $800, right? Maybe you have $500. Put at least 25% to the side that, you know, allows you to have some sort of nest egg. It's not going to be a lot, but it's something that's better than nothing. Not to mention, you should be working literally sun up to sundown, 2 to 3, maybe 5 hours of sleep, and literally work all day. Double up on high interest credit cards if you can. If you have a payment that's $25 a month, throw 2 payments of $30 a month. I just spit like crazy there. And then start a side hustle or a job, and then no long-term plays, no real estate wholesaling, no Bitcoin, no NFTs, none of that stuff. Only side hustles, only keep flipping your money. That's what you guys do if you have $1,000. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like on it. If you guys want those 6 free stocks, down in the description below, the 5th link will get you access to those 6 free stocks. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.